like I said, you can settle for status quo, but why? It's that there's so much opportunity out there. And I mean, I get excited about it because I'm just going, wow. I mean, there's so many ways that um, my team members can be more successful. I can be more successful. My clients can get a better experience. They can get, I mean, it can really be a fun, amazing process for everybody involved. It's just, thinking outside of the box, if something, sucks about the industry, like there's no reason why we can't change it.
Welcome to All Things Wood Floor, home of the Hardwood Flooring Fellowship of the best and brightest in our industry. I'm your host, Steve Diggins. Today, we have two-time guest Matt Garcia of Craftsmen Hardwood Floors, San Angelo, Texas. Get excited and prepared to become more profitable. Today, we're going to talk all things wood floor business, and you'll get a chance to get set up for a faster, smarter, better, more profitable, and more enjoyable new year. Buckle up, floor pros from around the world, and welcome to 2024. Now, let's get to it. Okay, round two. Welcome to All Things Wood Floor, Matt Garcia.
Hey, Steven, how's it going?
We talked to the folks at Wood Floor Business, and what they were speaking about was you've got a lot of parts coming up in Wood Floor Business Magazine on business management, and so I thought we'd quickly run through a review of where you're from, what you do, and then get into some of what you do and what you're going to write about coming up soon. Give me the name of your company, Matt.
Craftsmen Hardwood Flooring out of San Angelo, Texas.
Got it. Okay. Then when you went from California to Texas. No.
Yeah.
Okay. And what spurred that on?
Well, I've been in the flooring industry since I was a teenager, and probably did floors, I think, at that point around 15 years. And my wife is from Texas, and we lived in California, married for about 5 years. And once we had a couple of kids, we decided that we might look into moving closer to where her family is in Texas. And when I looked at the area, I noticed that all of the wood floor refinishers were, either dead or retired in the area. It's not a gigantic area, but there's a huge opportunity in the wood flooring industry for this area in particularly. There's just nobody was really capitalizing on that part of the market. So for me, it was partly going, wow, this could be a great business opportunity, low cost of living, great place to raise a family. And so me and my wife made the leap.
What got you involved with writing and giving and working with material for wood floor business?
A big part of it was the opportunity when I moved to San Angelo. I wanted to open up a retail store. And even though I had been doing it for a long time, I really didn't know how to operate besides one crew. In California, my whole family did flooring. So we all just kind of helped each other out when we needed it. And, I never really thought about expanding beyond that. But when I saw the opportunity here, I thought, this would be really awesome. I'm passionate about wood flooring, obviously. And what I really saw myself doing full service. So, having a showroom where people could just get a great experience and pick the floors that they want. And I could make the showroom that, really capture the imagination of what their home could look like with the wood floor. So, we put that award-winning floor that won in the wood floor business contest, in there, and to really just get people imagining, what their home could really look like and really display our talent, because I don't think sometimes it's hard to illustrate what you can to somebody unless you unlock their imagination.
What does your company look like? The hardwood flooring contracting companies can look a lot of different ways. Some have guys that just go out and van and install sand and finish, and some of them have showrooms, and some of them are dealers. Some of them have carpet. Like, what does your company basically look like, and how many people?
Yeah. So there's about 8 of us working in our business. And my mother, Charlotte, she runs the showroom on the retail side of things. And, so she's showing them all the products, and we team up together, and I'll go do estimates and things like that. And then we got our crews. We got about 3 crews of installers and refinishers that, will kind of tag team and get the projects done. So we do it all in house. So, we use some subcontractors here and there, but we have pretty high quality standards, and we like to really make sure that the customer's getting that 5-star experience every time. So we keep things pretty tight here and just manage, what we can. And, but, at the same time, it's, we want to grow and thrive and offer more to our team members. So, that's been part of the equation is, hey, how can we all thrive better? And there's a lot of opportunity and growth.
Everybody has different ambitions, right? When you got into all this, what were your ambitions? Where did you want to take it from just, doing the work every day?
I love the craftsmanship of the trade. I actually, when I started with my dad, we were doing resilience and some other types of flooring, commercial flooring and things like that. And I just love working with wood. So I started branching off into that more so. And before I knew it, I wanted to do everything wood floor. So that's really what captured, my imagination and got me going.
So you have warehouse showroom. You have sales and salespeople. You got your crews out there. And I think when I looked at a lot of what you wrote, you also have a business system. I think that's one that sometimes people forget. You actually have been building and working and modeling and renovating a business model, like a business system for what you do, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Read a lot of books and got a lot of great ideas and thought, I need to make this work for my business. And some of it I just couldn't find resources for a flooring business, really, especially, wood flooring specific. We have our own unique way of operating. And, I wanted a well-run business that had all the, the fundamentals, the foundations of solid business practices that are universal, but you really have to figure out how does that work within your company. So, when you read a business book, and they give you all of this structure. Well, the hard part is actually implementing it and adapting it and training your team to be able to follow through with it. So that's where we really just started building a structure that would fit that, solid business practices.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So what I wanted to do was build a glossary of terms. Sometimes I'll read an NWFA manual or a technical manual or anything, and I like to go to the glossary of terms so I'm on the same page. I know what the floor language is. And sometimes, it's business 101, might be business 102, might be business 103. Some things are more complicated than another. From what we're going to talk about, and I took a lot of notes from the things you've written, I'm going to throw through some glossary of terms so that when we get there, we're familiar with them. Let me throw them at you. You want to define them for me?
Sure.
Okay. The first one I got is, what's a tradesman's curse?
The tradesman's curse, the Profit First book talks about it a bit. But, it's the idea that you start off as a technician and, so you're great at producing the product. You're probably better than most people that you see around you. So you go into business for yourself and you start realizing that one element is producing an amazing product, but running a business that consistently can produce the project is an entirely different animal. And so a lot of times that is taken for granted because you don't know any better. You're a technician. You know how to produce an amazing product. Now, being able to reproduce that in a business, that's where the challenge is. And that's why it's nicknamed the tradesman's curse, because everybody that, is ambitious and has a business sense, that produces an amazing product as a technician, that's where the struggle goes. And they call it the curse because a lot of people either struggle or end up downsizing because it's frustrating.
Yeah, I think, what do you think is the cure or cures for something like that?
Yeah, the cure, I mean, sometimes it's hitting rock bottom.
Right.
And realizing I either got to, be and there's nothing wrong with being self-employed craftsman. You could be a solopreneur. You can have a small crew. I think you really just got to figure out where is your niche? Where are you strong? Or do you want to grow? And I think that's some of this going through all of this can help some people say, hey, this is where I need to be. I need to be that solo craftsman, or I need to, just whatever level you are. I think that will help you figure out where you need to be.
Listen, I don't know what area you're out on the other side of the country. I'm here. Please explain for all of us what is. You said I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. I've heard that, but can you explain that for the people at home?
I heard. Okay, so I heard. Where do these sayings come from? And I heard that it was. Bathing wasn't. In hot water wasn't. Was a luxury. Way back when. And so the idea is the baby was the last one to take the bath because, after everybody had bathed, that water wasn't looking so clear anymore. And the joke was, you might not be able to see the baby in the bath water. So,
right. So in business, you don't want to be making stupid mistakes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when it comes to business, it's really about really prioritizing. What's important. Don't take something. Don't put more of a priority on something that's not as important for something that is. Okay. And I think that that's just human nature, and it happens a lot in business. I mean, that's just something that we do because sometimes the most pressing thing is not the most important thing. It's like getting out of that urgency mindset.
Now you mentioned reading the E-Myth. I think that's Michael Gerber. I read it. I did a class with it. It's amazing that you know that. I love that book. I did an article about it in Wood Floor Business Magazine. You'll know then, what are the basic three components when they're talking about the E-Myth? And the E-Myth is the entrepreneurial myth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's three components of a business.
Yep.
The technician.
Yep.
The manager.
Yep.
And the entrepreneur.
Yep.
So the premise would be the technician is the guy that knows the past and how everything should be done and what works and how to produce quality and has the skills. Typically not the person that should be going into business. The manager is the person that's that time conscious, watches the clock, doesn't care about the past. He cares about right now. What are we doing today? We got to get things done today. The entrepreneur is the dreamer that keeps you in the future, keeps everything pulled ahead. And thinks about where do we need to be down the road. And I think, what you were talking about in your article was you need all three components.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's a lot of what we've built in the system, because when you go through a book like that, you start realizing, oh, wow, that's why we hit this bottleneck. How do we solve this? We hit this, and it goes back to those three pillars that you're talking about. And building a solid business, and that was really influential with it. It really that was the foundation of because when I had read that book, I'm going, wow, we need to implement this into our business, and then off of that, I looked into other resources and books and things to say, okay, how do I build up each one of those core focuses in the group or in the business?
How do you? If you've got, let's say you need 8 people to make a company flow and you need those three components, how do you do those jobs when you have so many people? Or what if you don't have an entrepreneur, you don't have the right technician, how do you move the company forward? Like somebody has to do all the work, I guess.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges when you're small and you want to grow, there's some revenue. Revenue a lot of times is tied with the layers of management that you're going to need, right? So, like what I say, most people can handle under 500,000, with just them. And, and that's just a general rule, it fluctuates, but I have talking to a lot of contractors and people, 500,000, is manageable. You can take care of things. You're not going to be on the tools as much, right? But you can kind of be in the field on the sales and manage things, right? You go to 500 to 750 and you start seeing things start getting out of control. You know what I mean? Start getting tough, and it's hard to get off the tools, right? But if you start getting off the tools and you start getting some structure, then you're good. But, you start getting above that and you know what I mean? And then it's the layers of management at that point, just, and it's kind of in that in-between time of how many hats can I manage until I get to the next step. And that's where the structure really starts to play. And if you get too far, if the structure does not keep up with the growth of the company, you may be real great at sales and man, you're just, but then the structure, you don't want to build a house of cards, basically.
So it's good to know all that stuff ahead of time, almost on paper, so that down the road you can fill those positions.
Yeah.
Or those roles, I should say roles. Okay.
Yeah. In the E-Myth, it really goes into all of that, and pivotal.
So I think you should be a New Englander, because this one's a good one. You wrote, it's easier to course correct a small ship than a big one. I like the term course correct. And what were you talking about in that article?
When you grow for the sake of growth, even if it's not intentional, and I know people actually that, do several millions of dollars a year in their company, and they'll flat out tell you, we're nearly making money on accident. And, I've been in mastermind groups with very successful companies, and they're just going, we produce a good quality product, but it's a circus in our business, and they're just, so, I've been in these masterminds going, wow. And they're telling you, get a good foundation now, so that, because it's hard to course correct a bigger business, and I'm just going, okay, wow. Like I love what y'all got going on. I'm going to try to take the best of that and get the structure that these people that have more experience are telling me, so that as I grow my business, I'm not, trying to steer a big ship. It's much easier to steer a small ship than a big one. So
you mentioned, tell me, what is a CFO coach?
CFO stands for Chief Financial Officer. And our CFO coach is also our tax accountant, and his wife runs our books. So they have two companies. And so it's really awesome in that respect, because he can look at our books that his wife's company is managing, and we can actually structure and strategize things by looking at the numbers. And what I love about a CFO coach, they're not in our industry, right? So they're looking at numbers. They're, and they're looking at it from a different angle than what you might, which is what I have found that's really beneficial. And, because, I have other people that, I'm in masterminds and get other coaching where, hey, yeah, they're more, or even mentors that are grounded in our industry. And it's really eye-opening to see the two different perspectives.
So do they help you to look at things and not be so, reactive?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the major, at first it was just, hey, let's just kind of figure things out. Where are we at? What do we need to focus on? And then after that, he really got us looking at lead measures, so yeah, get out of the urgency mindset, be planning ahead. And, we just took it bite by bite, but he would walk us through that, looking at our financials, telling us, hey, you need to be looking at this, this, and this. And that's when our mindset started changing, going, wow, we could really implement a lot of strategy if we really can anticipate things rather than react to them.
A lot of companies, they lack either a business model or a business system, or I guess those can be different things. What do you see when you're trying to examine whether you're lacking a proper business model?
The best way is if you can see it on paper. You can see where you're weak. We actually just ran our end of the year numbers. We're looking at our P&Ls and our overall profitabilities and all that kind of thing. And, we realized that we actually need a better strategy for moving product. There's a huge opportunity there, and we're looking at, everything we have in front of us going, oh, wow. And that's where the strategy comes from is, the better you can track and anticipate things, the better informed you're going to be. And for me, that being able to look at all those different aspects and start a strategy, because me and my mother, Charlotte, she runs the showroom. And right now that's what we're working on is, hey, what's our strategy for next year based off of our previous year's numbers?
Is there some type of a basic flow chart? I assume you get a customer or a lead generation of some type, a phone call or a friend of a friend, and then where does your process kind of simply go from there? Yeah, so we have a CRM that we put all of our clients into. What's a CRM?
A CRM, that's
You said it so many times.
Uh,
Customer
yeah. Oh,
relations.
well, you get used to the acronyms, and
Right. Yeah.
we're talking about the glossary of terms, right? And
Yep.
so I get used to the acronym. I'm going, what is it? It's a customer relations manager.
Yep.
Did I pass the test?
You got that. You did, but you're right,
Hey.
because you nailed it. See, I just, so for people, like I say, sometimes you're talking 101. For everybody's got a different level and different style and different thing. So yeah, I read that. I thought that was interesting. What is the customer relations manager?
So we have a pretty simple one. It's called RLM, and we basically it's a place that we can put all of our clients' information, what samples they have out, what our last conversation was. We can set up reminders. We can set up, all of the information that we need, because sometimes you might talk to a client and they're just not ready for their project. They're getting ideas. And 6 months later, you got to pick up where you left off of or even just set reminders like, hey, this person, they'll be ready this time, because the gold is in the follow-up, so it really helps you to manage all that stuff because, especially if you want to grow, you just can't remember anything anymore. And it's really, there's lots of different versions of it. They're attached to different types of software. Sometimes it's a standalone thing sometimes, and it's just a way to aggregate everybody's information in one spot.
So then that, going back to your flow chart, they get your leads and then you probably provide products and services both. Then what happens? Do they get involved in the purchasing of it, or you go straight to the workload, or where does it go after they've kind of maybe? Do they come to your shop, or do you go out to the field and show people product?
We'll do either one.
Okay.
A lot of times we like to gauge where they're at and invite them to the showroom to get some ideas. But sometimes people they want you to come out and measure and be able to quote them on the fly. You know how it is. Just the scope, can change that so much, and so we will do it either way, just depending on the circumstance. A lot of times we do try to get them to come into the showroom first because we really want to. We have some really intricate work done in our show. We like them to actually see, oh wow, like these people are serious. They're not just a company that is status quo. These people actually really care and do some quality work, and we can display that in the showroom. So a lot of times we do try to get them in. But I was a contractor for years, and I just had samples in my garage, especially with unfinished. It's hey, here's your species of wood. What width do you want, and what stain color do you want? So I love both sides of the model. I don't think that there's one winning. It has a lot to do with your operation, I think. But personally, having the showroom, I probably should get them in there. We put so much effort into it, and it does convert sales, and people actually start looking at the products and really gathering up ideas. So it helps them to, maybe want to do something, more spectacular in their project.
Well, when you're running a small business, right? It's been said that everybody wears a lot of hats. Is that at the level that you're talking about? Does that happen with you, and is that a good thing or a bad thing? Or
wearing a lot of hats creates a lot of stress, and some people are better at it than others. But nobody is truly ever amazing at. You just can't be good at everything, And when you're small, you have to. You may not be good at everything, but and that is the benefit of growth. As we've been able to grow, I can have a salesperson that really only has to sit, focus on sales. They're going to go do estimates. They can show material. They can be in the showroom. They can coordinate, take care of office things. It is a benefit having things specialized. It's just like even our crews. I really like my sand and finishers to do as much of the sanding finishing as possible. Because, when you're going from install to sanding, anytime you can specialize, you can hone in and become more efficient at it. And so that's what I do like about growth and where people don't have to wear as many hats. If you grow big enough, you can have a warehouse person. That way, that one person just takes that one part of the business. Somebody can just order materials, and maybe you have somebody doing, just administration. And it really is a thing of beauty when people don't have to wear a lot of hats. I mean, that's when you can have a really well-oiled machine. And that's what I love about business growth.
Well, I've seen it in textbooks where they'll say that. You're right. The early part of it, you have to, like in the E-Myth, he says, you got to wear all the hats. Just make a list of what you don't do well, and later find people that can do that better. I think one of the strongest things you can do in business is look at yourself and know what your flaws are. The rest comes naturally.
Yeah.
Look where the flaws are. Find people that are better at it. Going back to your the glossary of terms. Give me what's your employee scorecard?
Yeah, our scorecard. We're actually still developing that out a little bit. We've played with some different things, so we track the performance of everybody, and we do keep look at our numbers, and so some of it's productivity, some of it's going to be quality, but we're really looking at those key factors so that they could. The idea behind a scorecard is they should be able to look at it within 10 seconds, really gauge whether they're hitting the mark. Or whether, really wherever they are, if they're doing awesome, you want them to know, hey, you're doing awesome. And then any areas of improvement, you want them to understand where they can improve, because, the idea is if we all set goals and we track it, we actually can hit our numbers, we can hit our targets. So, one of the things I like about it is the idea of a scorecard is you have the larger business goals. Okay. And then you have all the goals of all the team members in the company. So if everybody is trying to hit the same target, the company hits target. So the scorecard is a tool to help everybody be able to gauge themselves and really, you can personalize them to the person and have your general, scorecard goals. But the idea is that they know they have a target to hit.
So you wrote in this last piece, or the piece that's coming out, there can be a glass ceiling for growth as a flooring contractor in a flooring business or in any business. What's a glass ceiling, and what are we talking about when we're talking about maybe a glass ceiling for growth?
Yeah, so the idea behind a glass ceiling, is obviously you can look up and see beyond it, but you can keep hitting your head against it and not ever get past it. And so, like I said, that's usually where the layers of management and the business structure come in. That's the premise of the article, is that's what the glass ceiling is. And sometimes people they just don't realize where they're at and what the logical structure should be at that point. Because like I said, you're wearing a lot of hats and you're getting rid of those hats as you grow. And that's where the glass ceiling comes in. Is at what point do you do what? Maybe I can't afford to have an HR person, right? Like that's something that you need to be a little bigger for, right? But maybe I can hire a bookkeeper. Bam. Bookkeepers are a lot less expensive than what people realize, because they're specialists and they can do things that in a couple minutes that could take you 20 or 30 minutes. And so that's one of the things that I found out is, there's those logical steps of management and delegation that you can start implementing. And if you start doing that, that's how you break through the glass ceiling.
Are there grassroots movements in the flooring industry? And how does that apply to a hardwood flooring business?
Yeah, there is I see, especially on social media and things like that, there's groups. And there's been a big theme about, status quo sucks. There's so much opportunity out there if we shift mindsets and we really know how to sell on value. How do we, because the worst thing, in my opinion, it's the saddest thing in the industry when you see an amazing craftsman that does quality work that is struggling to get enough work and to really be able to charge what their value is, right? And so what I have seen a big shift in those mindsets starting to shift. And what I think is encouraging is when you look at, let's say, plumbing and HVAC, they are ahead of the curve on that, and the adopters of the technology and the business systems are absolutely thriving. And I have some friends that are doing that in those industries, and there is some amazing resources with technology and business structure for that. And you see what's happening in those trades. I mean, it's it's blowing up. There's private equity going into them. And I mean, it just, the level of opportunity is amazing. And there's no reason why flooring can't get there. And really where I'm excited is I'm going, hey, this is a goal. The early adopters of these mindset shift changes, I mean, they're just going to absolutely thrive in the flooring and especially wood floors, because it's a special niche. And I believe that it is underrepresented.
Absolutely.
When you look at polls, it is underrepresented. There's a discrepancy between when people are polled, what is your ideal flooring in your dream home? It's wood floors every time at the top, right? You don't see that represented in what actually happens, right? And what I believe is that there is a grassroots shift happening, and I believe that when we get more people on board with business structures and models and stuff, because you see I know that there's companies that are absolutely owning the market in those areas, but what I really love to see is that your average contractor really be able to thrive, by shifting their business goals.
Hey, Wood Floor Pros, this is Kim Walgren, the longtime editor of Wood Floor Business. Make sure you don't miss any of the great articles the guys are talking about in this episode by doing 3 things. 1. Make sure you have your own free subscription to Wood Floor Business by going to woodfloorbusiness.com, clicking on magazine, and filling out the short form. 2. While you're subscribing, make sure you check the box to also subscribe to the WFBE News. You'll get all the latest industry news, new products, and blogs by authors like Matt Garcia and Stephen Diggins, delivered right to your inbox every Monday and Wednesday. And 3, be sure to follow WFB everywhere you're on social media and join the discussions with your fellow wood floor pros. That's it for now. Let's get back to Stephen's deep dive into smart business with Matt Garcia.
I've seen contractors move from the $1.50 for sanding that they've gotten for decades to $1.75. But after the pandemic, there are new people on the block getting $3, $4, $5, $6 a foot to sand and finish. And you still need to get some of these people that don't have that mindset, move your value up. It's really hard to find good hardwood flooring people. It really is. And you're very rare. And if you're really good at it, you should be getting, paid what you're worth for it. I think that one of the final things that you put out there, which I love, and I want you to explain it to me, is what's a gamified work order? Did I get that right?
Yeah. I'm very interested in what motivates the younger generations. There's the stereotypes that, young people, millennials, Gen Z, they don't want to do hands-on labor, or they're lazy, or, this or that. And I really don't buy into those stereotypes, and I've seen it. I mean, I've hired people that are lazy and fit the stereotypes and things like that. But what I have found is, if you can connect, especially with the younger generations on their level, it's amazing how much more motivated and excited that they can get. And that's part of, why we produce that. And that's going to be in an article coming up soon in Wood Floor Business. We have a photo of it that's going to be in there.
So what is a gamified work, or what does that mean exactly?
Yeah. So it looks kind of like a video game, and it's got some graphs. And really what it is to help them hit their goals, right? So, I have employees, they're on hourly, but I have a performance pay structure. So, what it really is they earn bonuses on top of their pay. And so what it is it looks kind of like a video game, but it says, hey, it's a work order though. It has the client information on top. It's got a bar graph that shows, hey, at this many hours, this is what your hourly pay is based off of productivity. So it really what it does is say, hey, you're going to get your base pay, but you're also going to have bonus pay. And so what it does is it shows them where their potential could be. And obviously we have quality incentives that are also tied to it. So it's not purely production, but what I want to try, the stereotype that, young people, they just want to be on their phone and they're going to milk the clock. And so this is really to help show them, if you milk the clock, this is the consequence, right? If you're not
going to have
yourself,
that phone.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're not saying here, we're going to dock you for those things. We're saying, if you don't do these things, look what the potential is.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of the graphics are like a video game, and it's based off of a spreadsheet. So what we can do is put all, we can line item, hey, you're going to remove the carpeting. This is how much this is worth. So we pieced it out for them. Hey, this is what the sanding of the floor is. If there's install, we're going to put install. And what it does is it shows them a gradient. Like, hey, your hourly wage, is here. If it takes you 60 hours to do this part, you're just going to be earning hourly wage, right? But hey, if you're productive and we know that what you're capable of, if you're in this range, you're going to be, $30 an hour, $40 an hour, 50. It goes up, it goes up to all the different ranges. But it's just showing them you're not just putting in hours, you're putting in value. Okay, so that value is worth something. So you know what I mean? It's just getting them out of that. The mindset, hey, I do the time, I get a check.
Right.
So, and that's why we call it gamified, because it's like business in a sense is gamification.
Sure.
So we're just trying to employ that so that we don't have employees, we have team members, we have people that are not thinking about when do I get off work, but how much value do I provide in the time that I'm at work.
People like to hang in there for games. They like to see the beginning, the middle, the end. It's just like a sales month. Yep. It starts over again, but at the end of the month, it's kind of fun to see how close did you hit your numbers, where are you going with it. They say all the time, the customer is always right. But I read something the other day that basically said, the customer doesn't come first. That's an old myth. If your team comes first, the customer will get everything that they need. And that's right. You could put your customers first and have, like you're talking about, a lackluster crew. But if your team is super sharp, and I don't like to say employees or whatever, I think that, and I don't like the term boss, but I think if you have a team and you've built it and you have leaders, well, then when it all comes together, the customer's the winner. When I'm looking over everything that you've written and everything we've talked about, and now we'll kind of jump into our little thesis statement here is, you were speaking about in your articles, and we've heard it here, that if you take charge of your life and your business life, and you become a leader, and you redefine what success looks like for a flooring contractor or an industry pro, you've got a much better shot at success, correct?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you can settle for status quo, but why?
Right.
It's that there's so much opportunity out there. And I mean, I get excited about it because I'm just going, wow. I mean, there's so many ways that my team members can be more successful. I can be more successful. My clients can get a better experience. They can get, it can really be a fun, amazing process for everybody involved. It's just, thinking outside of the box, if something, sucks about the industry, like there's no reason why we can't change it.
Exactly. I'm going to break down some components for you, and we'll get into this exact conversation, like what you were writing about, what you're talking about, building a business model. And listen, a lot of hardwood flooring people, they get their work together, they get out there, they finish it, and it's Groundhog's Day. They start over again on Monday, and I think you got a really good idea. I think that you're going to be doing a lot of important series pieces in that. One of the things that you've spoke about online, and I've read about it, and let's get into it because it's just the worst part of the whole deal is, how does somebody in a hardwood flooring trade integrate software and spreadsheets? Where do those come in what your model?
Yeah, that is a challenge, especially, being a technician and then wanting to adopt technology and things like that. But it's like what I was saying. If you look at what's going on in the HVAC and plumbing world, they've really adopted technology, and the companies that are doing it they're just very successful because they're running their business off of a structure, and that structure is a proven structure. And so, I think that's, getting out of your comfort zone. I mean, some people are just tech savvy and it's going to be a more natural fit, but I think that, you can save a lot of work doing a lot of business breakdowns and analysis and stuff, like the numbers that you really need to know. Without technology, good luck. Good luck doing it. It's
what
tough
kind of
unless you're
software
really good with spreadsheets.
I'm sorry. What kind of software can you use in a smaller flooring company?
Yeah, we talked about a CRM.
Yep.
That's a great place to start. There's a lot of information you can put into them. One of the things actually that I'm doing right now, I am working with a technology company. It's newer, and they're using AI to,
Wow.
and they're actually building me a website right as we speak. They're building me a website, and it's got chatbots in it. It's got tools in it where, let's say you are on the tools and you're wanting to build your company. You're a great craftsman, but you need more leads to get your name out there so that more people can experience your beautiful work, right? Well, it's softwares where it can actually set up appointments, because a lot of times people are like, hey, I need this or that, and it can actually, so that you're not, shutting your machines down, right? It's doing a lot of that chatting and setting things up so that when you can get to it, they may have already booked an appointment with you, and you can set it up. And so this is new technology. I would say this is stuff to look out for in 2024. I'm looking at it, and I'm kind of like helping develop it in a way, and I think it's going to be pretty neat. So it's Jason Potts is the guy that I'm working with, and it's Flooring Gurus is the company, and he really wants to change refinishing. Especially in the refinishing industry, he really wants to put resources in contractors' hands. And so, like I said, this is new stuff, but just, be looking out for it. In fact, actually, Wood Floor Business did an article. One of the websites is called Ballin Knows Best, and it's actually an AI that you can ask flooring related questions, and it will give you AI answers for it. And they're actually training these AIs to to learn and actually produce very accurate information. I've actually used those AIs, and I was going, wow, it's finding information real fast that would have taken me a long time on Google.
It's pretty impressive stuff. If you're using, let's say, the software side of this, can you track can a company, can they track their profitability? Some people don't know where they're at. I think that's a good measure. Are you actually being profitable?
Yeah. There is softwares out there with CRMs. I will say, and that's part of why I'm looking into like these technology companies and stuff is we've built a lot of our own spreadsheets to track a lot of it, because I have tried using some of the CRMs that are made for different businesses, and they're not really tracking the numbers that we necessarily always want. And, I want breakdowns of numbers and be able to really see, okay, like we're really making, because the idea is when you estimate the job, you want to know that you're going to have profit afterwards, right? So, you the less that you're shooting in the dark, the better off you are. So, what it does is when we run those profitability now, our profit margins. So we're looking at how much profit margin do we make on materials? How much profit do we make on our services? Like that's the foundational part of it, right? If you can produce those two things, you're a light years ahead of the industry, right? But what it is it starts teaching you what projects you did well on and which ones you didn't. So that feedback loop tells you, next time I get one of these, I need to go up on this one. And the ones that you do really great on, you focus and go after those ones more. So it's creating a real positive feedback loop that informs you so that, oh, wow. And that's once we started doing that, and we started realizing what projects were really the best fit for our company and focus on that, our numbers just really started to improve. We can track and go, wow, look at that. Every time we ran a profitability report, we run monthly reports. The next month got better, and the next month got better. And you keep doing that, man. Over a year, you can really make a ton of ground in your profit.
What kind of spreadsheets are you talking about? These like Excel, or these what type are they, and what are you using for that?
Yeah, we're developing them in Excel. And we're actually what we're trying to do. I would really love. We're testing it in our company. It's been working really great, and I'm actually visiting with a spreadsheet professional consistently. We're trying to develop a universal system so that people can tap into a system. And so, like right now, spreadsheets are a lot of people can use them, and they're very user friendly. What we're trying to do is make it, take the hassle out of creating one. Hey, this is one for you. And I've been writing in the articles about, hey, reach out to me, if you need those resources, because I have companies testing them out right now. And the goal is, hey, you can run these numbers straightforward, easy, and not have the hassle of it. But that is a little bit of the struggle in the industry, is there's just not a lot of plug and play systems for it. We've had to build a lot of them on our own. But, I would love to share that to the industry as we grow and develop them ourselves.
So we should have put this in the note section, but give me KPIs. It's one of my favorite things I like to play around with. What are KPIs, and how do they work for you?
Yeah. KPIs, key performance indicators.
Yeah.
And so our key performance indicators is on the marketing and sales side. We're looking at booking rate. So, and I'll lay it down like this: booking rate, close rate, and average ticket. That's really the foundation on sales for any home service company. Okay. And so, booking rate is basically you get a call, you get their information. Does it turn into an estimate? So that's a good number to know. And then your close rate is how many people went from estimate to close the deal. Okay. That's a really great number to know. And the reason is you can shift your strategy depending on where you're losing people, right? We all think that we're awesome at it, right? But some people, do a lot better than others. So we always know there's room for improvement, right? And so this is a great strategy. Okay, and then average ticket, it just tells you, who's your clientele. If you can get those average tickets up, you don't need as many clients. And that's why we track those numbers on sales, is because if I can double my average ticket, which is very possible with good strategy, you need half the amount of clients to get the same amount of revenue. And that you can really implement a lot of strategy if you're tracking that. Because, what if your average ticket's going down? You guys say, whoa, what did I do? You know what I mean? What if your booking rate goes down? What if your close, you know what I mean? You're tracking it. So you're not just going, gosh, I wonder why, we're getting slow. Well, you start tracking that and it starts telling a story. You start realizing, oh my gosh, we actually, we started lettering our vans. And you start seeing that, you know what I mean? You start correlating all of those smart business practices, and you keep implementing and trying out things. So that's, and then for our craftsmen on our team, we're tracking production, we're tracking quality, we're tracking our reviews, so, hey, like if we get a shout out, for our team members on a review, that goes, that's part of the key performance indicators, right? That shows us we're getting great feedback. And then, also, and we're tracking their bonuses too. So, because the way we have it set up, if they make a bonus, the business makes a bonus too. It's universally beneficial. So what we're doing is we're tracking all those key numbers. You don't want a million KPIs. You want the most important ones. You track those and you create that feedback loop so that you're constantly improving.
Do you think that, if in the business model you don't have a good grip on quality control at every level, how you conduct your business, the quality of the workmanship, how people react with other people, that would throw a wrench in everything, right? With your KPIs and your business model. So you must be watching your quality control. That's got to be part of it, I would think.
Yeah, that actually, the blog, my most recent blog that had come out with Wood Floor Business was one of our components, was quality control. And what we outline is it will fall apart if you do not have quality control. So, we have a bonus structure for productivity, and that could be detrimental to quality, right? You know what I mean? Because, one of the things that we do is if you don't hit the company quality standards, you're ineligible for a bonus. So, you start cutting corners and all those things. Well, it's really not going to benefit you. You know what I mean? But really, I try to be more, I try to create a culture of quality, because really just incentives, you have to have integrity to have quality, right? And so really our core values in our business is excellence and integrity. And so out of excellence and integrity comes the quality, right? So, we're praising I'm always praising people for quality. Wow, you knocked it out of the park. You know what I mean? It's a status in our company when you produce amazing quality. I mean, it's praise. So really, I feel like that's the foundation of quality control is the culture. And then the secondary part of it is tracking the quality, making sure it's up. Hey, what are our reviews? Do we get bad reviews? Do we get good reviews? What's the feedback from the client? Having the client fill out, a form about their experience is also really great. You can see where you can improve and things like that. But I feel like quality is the absolute foundation in the wood flooring industry.
So you have basically it's a team-based pay structure and a performance-based pay structure, right? So if that's what I'm getting from you, then you also, I believe, you rank everybody based on their level of workmanship, because not everybody can come on and be a 5-tool player, right? So I'm assuming that what you've got is, and can you go through your team ranking for me on that?
Yeah, we have apprentice 1. That's somebody that's very, doesn't know anything about.
Like what would they do?
They're going to start off handling material, sweeping floors, handing tools, learning where the tools go, very elementary stuff. We start them off on, more of the foundational elements of things. They're learning at the same time. And then, we're going to set, for an apprentice 1, we're going to set them up for the next tier. So we're basically going to say, hey, once you've established that you have all of these sets of skills and you've proven yourself, and part of it too, we're tracking productivity, right? So if you're on the team and we can tell that when you came on the team, our productivity has gone down and it has not come back up again, that tells us that you're honestly not ready to advance, because the bonus structure is weighted based off of skill level. And so, if you're an apprentice 1, we're also looking, you have to show us on paper and your knowledge and skills that you are ready to become apprentice 2.
And that's the next one, apprentice 2.
Yep.
What's involved in apprentice 2?
Okay. Apprentice 2 is, you have all the foundational, qualities, and skills and knowledge. And, now, what you're going to be doing as an apprentice 2 is you're going to be assisting a journeyman. Okay. The goal is that you're learning all of the higher level skills. So, if you're doing install, it's going to be layouts. It's going to be managing things, making sure, hey, the prep is done properly. All the specs of the floorings, and how to measure subfloor flow. All the more technical things that you might get curveballs and challenges thrown at you, right? What we're wanting to do is make sure that you can work through all those things, because the goal of apprentice 2 is basically you got all the foundational things. We're training you to become a journeyman now.
So, okay, explain journeyman. That's what, the third step, right? Or the third ranking. Gotcha. Yep.
So a journeyman, they have to be able to do a project completely on their own. So they can manage the project, they can manage an apprentice, because now we're looking for management qualities, right? At that point, because if you're apprentice 1, apprentice 2, you're being managed, through all the steps of the process. When you become a journeyman, we expect you to be able to manage and see a project all the way through.
Okay.
So, I don't, there's kind of a little bit of a mid-level there. When a journeyman first starts, I'm just going to make them in charge of basic projects. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give them something that is over their head, right? But I'm going to be throwing them projects at first that I know that they can handle an average, basic, slam dunk project on their own. And then we're going to start developing, them to be able to do more, more intense projects as they go. But the goal is to get them to master craftsman.
That's the next level. That was my question for you. You go from journeyman to master craftsman. There's no craftsman then master craftsman. I wasn't sure where, because you do some pretty intricate work. I mean, a master craftsman does some pretty intricate, tedious, really highly technical stuff. And then Listen, you can be highly technical just installing a hardwood floor in a regular system with all the complications that come along with it. Never mind to be doing it in some super high-end place with thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of intricate pieces. So the journeyman is your pro, and then the master craftsman takes the craft to another level. Explain what a master craftsman does.
Yeah, so a master craftsman, they're going to have more of the creativity. They're going to be able to design, and they're going to have the skills to back it up. So they're going to know how to bend wood. They're going to know how to do circular. They're going to know how to do pattern floors. They're going to be able to teach, and instruct, others, because a master craftsman can pull, somebody that is at journeyman, because really we consider everybody, even the apprentice, is a craftsman.
Sure.
In our craftsman hardwood flooring, right? But one of our sayings is the craftsman difference. This is the craftsman difference. So everybody's a craftsman on the team, whether you're, an apprentice 1, apprentice 2, journeyman, or master craftsman. But the master craftsman is going to be able to do, a lot of times stair work. And it doesn't mean that you have to be able to do every single thing, but you're definitely, you could tell a master craftsman when you see one.
You think that when you're looking at the apprentice 1, 2, and you said sometimes they might either not move forward or they might not be ready to move forward. Are there certain things with your team members that might be complicated, difficult, or, just stress them out?
Yeah. When they don't have good training and direction, that's always, I think a lot of misplaced or misunderstandings with employees comes with that, because we take for granted, especially if you've been doing it for a lot of years, of what to expect people to be able to understand or know. We take it for granted, that we've been doing it for a long time, a lot of times. And we don't realize how fundamental people really need to start, and some people actually never got the fundamentals. They may have experience and never really got the fundamentals down. And so I think that when it is more often the case that an employee gets in over their head and is expected to succeed, when they really are in over their head. They just don't have the guidance and instruction and the structure to be able to thrive. And I mean, that's going to create frustration for the employer and for the employee. But it is, and I'm going to say the reason why it doesn't happen, it's hard. It's not easy. We don't have a universal plug and play apprenticeship guide
right.
in the flooring industry. I'm working on developing it, because I think 90% of what we do is the same. You can add your 10% flair to it, but I would really love to see, some sort of guided structure where people could get into a company, see a career path, a potential. Hey, I do this and I achieve this level. I do this and I hit this level, and I see the pay, opportunities with it. And that's a lot of what we're trying to do to really just to treat our people well. I genuinely want to treat them as best I can. They got families, they got people that rely on them. And that's extremely important to me, that I at least give them every opportunity I can to help them to be successful.
So it's a performance pay structure.
Yes.
I gotcha. So when we talked a little bit about gamifying, and I'm gonna let that go because you've been over it, and I think you're going to cover it a lot in the magazine articles that come up in wood floor business. One of the final things I want to talk to is a couple things, and we'll put them together. How about budgeting and cash flow projections? I mean, you're still working with money. It's no good to the company to just give everything away, and can't just break even. You need money to grow, to get equipment, to fix equipment, to buy materials. Is that budgeting? What's in there? You must also be doing some type of inventory management. Do you have inventory, or is it just sandpaper, paper, poly, erasers, or are you bringing wood in?
We have. I'm not real big on a lot of inventory, especially on flooring. We do a lot of special order, but I always keep my red oak and my white oak, and number one and select. Because for repairs and addition, you're going to run through that. So we keep that type of stuff on hand, but most of our inventory is in, like what you said, sundries, finishes, all the stuff that that you're going to be, adhesives, just buying as much of that stuff by the pallet as we can, and making sure, because we're 4 hours from distribution, so it's imperative that we are well supplied.
You're 4 hours from your distributor.
Yep.
Here, as a distributor, I have 14 competitors within 2 exits of me. 14. That's crazy.
Texas is big and vast.
Yeah,
I'll just tell you that.
But so then, with part of your whole system and your software and your spreadsheets and everything, so you're able to do budget and cash flow projections for the company?
Yeah. That actually, I would say our budget and cash flow projection was the number one path to growth for us.
Okay.
Because cash flows everything when you're trying to grow and expand a business. Because if you're scared to spend money because you don't know if you're going to have it next month, or if you don't realize you're going broke, those are two realities that it's difficult to get your finger on the pulse of that. And when you're trying to expand and grow, because the reason is when you take that step forward, it's like that glass ceiling, right? Let's say you get a building. Well, now you got rent. You got all that money coming out. What if you hire a new crew? Well, that's more money coming out. You buy this new equipment. You know what I mean? And what I'm getting at, when you start getting out of your comfort zone and trying to improve and grow, you don't realize how quickly you're running through money, right? And there's just things that you can do. That's what our CFO really hounded into us, and that's why we project out at least 2 months. And what we do is, when you get a project and you put it on the schedule, if it's something that's going to go in 4 weeks, we put it on the schedule. We know when we're going to get that next paycheck, right? We know all of our known expenses. So what we do is we input all of our known expenses and all of our known incomes into that. And then even things like, hey, we know that we're going to be paying in July, that's when our insurance is due, or all those kind of things. And what we do is we start inputting everything in there. And now we have a roadmap, right? There's so many things that I took for granted that we actually know, because that's what our CFO says. He goes, hey, these are not surprises, right? Your insurance is good, dude. In a year, you're going to have that much expense on your vehicles. You know that you're going to spend this much in branding or advertising. You know what I mean? There's so many of those things. And that's another thing that we're trying to develop, something that works for the wood floor industry, is just an easy way to project your cash flow. But I mean, there's, like I said, there's technology out there, going back to CRM. Some CRMs actually have budgeting things. There's some stuff you can do in QuickBooks. The key is that you're actually, got your finger on the pulse of the money. I mean, the money is the lifeblood of your business.
Is there a schedule that you've got going right now for some of this material? Is it all going to come out in the next issue of Wood Floor Business? Is it going to come out in segments? Is it going to come out over a certain period of time?
Yeah, so in Wood Floor Business Magazine, they're going to be doing some employee training articles, and so the one that has the gamified work order is going to be in there, and I'm not exactly sure when, so you're just going to have to kind of keep your eyes out for it.
I know people.
Yeah, I think it's soon.
I got an editor.
I believe there's a series of articles that. I think it's awesome. I think, and so I got interviewed on that and shared some of my, my gamified work order and all that. So that'll be in there. But I'm also doing the blogs. And so the blogs, they're coming out, a couple times a month. And it's based off the Tradesman's Curse article. And so, because me and Kim Walgren, we started talking about, I'm pretty passionate about this. I can go on and on about it. She goes, Matt, this is not a magazine article. This is a book.
Yeah, I've been down that road. 7,000 word blog. Not going to be going across that desk. Yeah.
So, what we did is the Tradesman Curse is the foundation. And, I have, I believe, 7 or 8 points, and what I did is I outlined those in the article that we're talking about. And we've already ran through a few of the blog posts on it, but we've got a few more to do. And so that's what we're working through is, that way it's easier to digest and we can go into each thing. So, I mean, the beauty of this is, you can type in, if you go to Wood Floor Business and you look at authors, you can type in Matt Garcia, you can type in Stephen Diggins. It's actually, you see everything that they wrote. And what I thought is really cool about it is if somebody really wants to dig into this, and they can go to that and they can actually get all that content in one spot, which I thought was like, wow, this is amazing. I need to actually probably post that, like, hey, like, check this out. If you're more interested in this, like, check this out.
That's how it worked years and years ago. Somebody wrote an article about black spots in a floor, and I read it, and the answer in the final paragraph was, and we don't know what caused the black spots. And it drove me nuts. And I did a bunch of research, and I wrote what I found it to be. And now I get 3 emails a day about anybody that even spots black spot, and they spill pepper, they're calling me. So I'm trying. And somebody online I was looking one night, and they wrote, "Oh, Diggins wrote another one about black spots. Oh, surprise, surprise, it's metal." And I'm like, listen. It is another article, and it's not metal this time. And I started doing the mystery stuff, but it is fun. And Wood Floor Business, they're always a champion out there for the flooring people. I mean, that is the basis, right? It's the flooring installer, the guy that's doing the physical work. And that just helps everybody from the distributor to the dealer to the manufacturer to everybody involved. And you pointed it out. Without a good quality installation system, and there's so many ways to do this, and there's so many types, it would just destroy the industry. We need people at the grassroots level to be educated and understand what they're doing. I liked the theme of all of this package that you're putting together, and you wrote it, and people should go on Wood Floor Business and take a look at it, was what we talked about in the beginning. For hardwood flooring contractors and people in the flooring industry to take charge of their lives and take charge of their business, because no one wants to be run by their business. They want to run their business. Usually 100 people that would like to get rid of their business. They'd be glad to give it to you. To become leaders and redefine what success actually looks like for hardwood flooring contractors and industry pros. That's where you're going with this whole thing, correct? To wrap it up and let you escape me.
Yeah, no, I love how you sum that up, because I think that we really can redefine what success looks like in this industry. There's a lot of things changing, and just from social medias to sharing content and things like that. And I'm talking to a lot of people. With the beauty of writing for the magazine is there's so many people that have reached out that said, "Oh my gosh, you're hitting on these pain points for me." You know what I mean? And I'm going, oh gosh, and I'm learning from them. You know what I mean? Because they're informing me what has helped them, and that reinforms me to be able to produce content that helps them out. And so I'm just going, wow, just seeing this level of success that people are having and that we've had. And I'm just going, I did things for, over 20 years the same. And then I start tweaking things and just see the fruit of that. And I'm just going, it just makes me so excited, because like I said, it's like a family. We're the Wood Floor family is a niche, you know what I mean? And we
it's got a fellowship.
The retail side to the distributor, the manufacturers. And you've said it before. And it's like, I just love that there's so much opportunity on the horizon.
Well, listen, I forget too that one of the things I got to put back as I'm compiling the Matt Garcia glossary is the pain points, because that came from the last. So people, go look at the last podcast we did, and hopefully you and I will be talking together a lot moving forward, because I know we've been sharing writing. We try to take some time ahead of time and go over some of our articles, make sure things are right before they get to our beloved editor, so that she doesn't have to work 17 hours on just hacking up the miles and miles of text that we throw down. Matt, I got to thank you. This is our second meeting, and I appreciate you being here with me on All Things Wood Floor. Matt and I have prepared a special. Matt's been writing for weeks on this, and he's come up with a little list for us. Matt, you want to tell us what that is? Because we've done the quick fire questions. You're a second timer, and you've come up with a great idea. What are we going to do?
Okay, we got the top 8 reasons you might get a bad review
online. All right. Listen, flooring contractors with bad reviews, and they hide from them. And I do a lot of consulting, and you can see what goes wrong when things go wrong. So if in the spirit of the flooring fellowship and floor language, as I call it, go ahead, Matt, let's run down the top 8. And listen, there was nothing in the budget to do 10. This is, your and my blogs don't support this. So we're going to go with 8 of the top ones. You want to roll with it?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little disappointed because I wanted to get paid for 10, and when they said that just 8 was in the budget. But I mean, you know how it goes.
They'll pay me for the other two. I'm gonna send you something. Let's go. Bring it to me.
All
what
right.
do you got?
Okay, top 8 reasons you might get a bad review online. Number 1.
Oh, spreading a $160 floor finish with a $2 squeegee and your boss's $5 Fiji water bottle.
Number 2.
Who says you got to nail every row?
Number 3.
Number 3, the boss explains, we don't move furniture. Then he sees a long hair on the floor and shouts out, lift with your knees, boys.
Number 4.
Number 4, pitching that ebony is a trendy stain because no one knows the difference between red oak and white oak.
Number 5.
Writing the wrong stain and posting online, Mrs. Lipinski, you're 84, your eyes suck.
It's my favorite. Number 6.
Number 6, telling a bloodshot painter that there's only 20 minutes left to Taco Tuesday, and then you slide the van up the driveway right into the garage.
Number 7.
Your helper spilled stain on the new driveway, so you offer at no charge to stain the entire driveway.
And number 8.
Hey, we cut that floor with 36, 80, and 150. Those marks came in the flooring. Those are in the wood.
Bam.
I think that sounds familiar to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's copyright stuff and everything, but I think we did it justice.
Well, listen, it's our new way to kick off 2024. Matt Garcia, you're my first guest. Don't forget, we've been threatening everybody to do a Treehouse podcast. You know what? If you're listening to this podcast and you write into Wood Floor Business Magazine, we're thinking of doing a Treehouse podcast at Matt's, we'll call it your ranch, and bringing in some of the best in the business to just talk from what we see in the trenches and get down with the really bottom line dirt, the industry, from trade show adventures to seminars and classes and things we've seen in the field. So we'll see what we go with it. But Matt, I really, really, really appreciate you being here. And again, always good to see you. And I can't wait to see your material come out in Wood Floor Business Magazine.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Love chatting with you, and really just what I love is the what you do for the industry, kind of just all the resources and people that you have on. I mean, I've been a longtime listener, so it's helped me out tremendously. I can honestly say I wouldn't be where I am without content and people like you writing for the magazine.
Let's keep doing it then, buddy. We will talk. I'm going to end this one, and thank you again for being here on All Things Wood Floor.
I hope you enjoyed today's conversation with Stephen and Matt. Like the guys mentioned during the podcast, you can find all of their articles, or articles by any other Wood Floor Business author, by going to woodfloorbusiness.com and putting their names in the search bar. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review All Things Wood Floor.